Imagine this, you're sitting alone in your room, the lights are off. Your phone is in your hand, but you're not really scrolling. Your mind is loud, your heart is louder. Some days you think, am I finally waking up spiritually? And other days you think, or am I just losing my mind? If that question has ever lived in your chest, this video is for you. Because a lot of people talk about spiritual awakening like it's just light, peace, angel numbers, synchronicities and good vibes. But there is another side, the side where your emotions crash like waves, your thoughts won't slow down, your body feels strange, your old life stops fitting you, and you start to wonder if you're secretly broken. So today, we're going to sit together inside that question. Why do some people feel like they're losing their mind during awakening? And how do I know what's actually happening to me? We're not going to hype it up. We're not going to sugarcoat it. We're going to slow down, understand what's really going on, and hopefully help you breathe a little easier by the end. And before we go deeper, I want you to do one tiny thing. Notice your shoulders. Are they tight? If yes, just let them soften. Just 5% more than before. You're allowed to listen to this with your body, not just your mind. All right, let's begin. Part 1. The moment you realize something is off. Almost nobody wakes up one day and says, "Great, today is the day I'll start my spiritual awakening." Usually it begins with something much more simple and confusing. Maybe you go through a breakup, a loss, a health scare, or a big life change. Or you feel this emptiness in the middle of a life that looks fine from the outside. Or out of nowhere, your old coping mechanisms stop working. The distractions, the fake smiles, the pretending. And then strange things start happening inside you. Your emotions become more intense. You feel more sensitive to noise, to drama, to negativity. You look at your old life and think, who even am I in all this? At first, you might think you're just tired, stressed, or in a sad mood. But then it keeps going. You start searching. Signs of spiritual awakening. Kundalini, awakening symptoms. Dark night of the soul. Am I going crazy or awakening? And somewhere deep inside, a quiet voice whispers, this is more than just a bad mood. Something bigger is happening. If that's you, I want you to know this right away. You are not the only one. You're not weird, and you're not defective. You are going through something thousands of people have gone through before you. But not everyone had the words for it. Part 2. Why awakening can feel like a breakdown. Here's the difficult truth. Awakening and breakdown can feel almost identical from the inside. Let's talk about why. When we say awakening, we're basically talking about awareness increasing. You start becoming aware of things you used to ignore, suppress or numb. Old pain, old stories, old trauma, old patterns, the lies you told yourself to survive. For years, maybe even decades, you pushed feelings down. I'm fine, it's not that bad. Other people have it worse. I should be strong. But awareness is like light. And when the light gets brighter, it doesn't only shine on pretty things. It shines on the dust too. So suddenly you notice that unresolved grief from childhood, that shame you never talked about, that loneliness you covered with work or entertainment, that anger you swallowed because you didn't feel safe expressing it. When all of that starts surfacing at the same time, it can feel like a flood. Your mind might say, why am I crying for no reason? Why am I so angry? Why do I feel panicked when nothing is wrong right now? Why do I feel like everything is meaningless? That flood of unprocessed emotion can feel like you're breaking apart. But here's a key reframe. It's not that you're getting worse. It's that what was already inside you is finally moving. You're not failing, you're feeling, and those are very different things. Part 3. The nervous system. Your invisible limit. Let's talk about something very practical. Your nervous system. You can think of awakening like turning up the voltage of your inner electricity. More awareness, more sensitivity, more energy moving through your system. That sounds powerful. But if the wiring isn't ready, it can also be overwhelming. Things that can push your system over the edge. Intense breathwork done too fast or too long. Heavy kundalini practices without guidance. Strong psychedelics without integration. Long meditations on very little sleep. Fasting, overworking, overstimulation, constant emotional stress. Your body and mind are already carrying history. Stress, trauma, heartbreak, fear, childhood conditioning. Then you add powerful practices on top, and suddenly the system is running on 200% capacity. What does that feel like? High energy in the head, very little in the feet, racing thoughts, insomnia, or strange sleep. Heart pounding, sudden waves of fear or euphoria, feeling plugged into a socket with no off switch. From the outside, that might look like, wow, this person is super spiritual, super activated. From the inside, it can feel like, I'm going mad. I can't calm down. I can't relax. I'm scared. So sometimes what people call losing my mind is actually nervous system overload. Not a punishment, not a sign that you're weak, just a sign that your system is carrying more than it can handle right now. And that means the medicine is not more intensity. The medicine is grounding, slowing down, and gentle regulation. We'll come to that. Part 4. The death of the old identity. There's another reason awakening feels so scary. It doesn't just change what you feel, it changes what you believe about yourself. Think about who you thought you were 10 years ago. Now think about who you think you are today. Different, right? Awakening speeds that up. The old identity starts to crack, the good child who always pleases, the strong one who never cries, the victim who is always powerless, the spiritual person who must always be calm and wise. Life starts asking you, what if you're not only that? What if you're more than that story? What if some of these images are just costumes? At first, that sounds beautiful. But when the costume really starts to fall apart, it doesn't feel like poetry. It feels like, if I'm not this, who am I? If my beliefs are collapsing, what can I trust? If my old life doesn't fit me, where do I belong? This is where terms like ego death and dark night of the soul show up. And inside those states, the mind often whispers, I'm disappearing. I'm dying inside. I'm losing it. But here's something to hold on to. The part that feels like it's dying is usually the false certainty, not your true essence. The image of you is cracking so that a more honest version of you can breathe. That doesn't mean it's easy, it just means there is meaning inside the chaos. Part 5. Awakening versus overthinking versus mental health. What's what? Now let's talk about a delicate but important topic. Because yes, some of what you're feeling may be awakening. And yes, some of it might also be mental health. And these two things can exist together. It is not helpful when spiritual communities say, everything is just awakening, never mind the doctors. And it is also not helpful when people who don't understand awakening say, it's all just illness, stop being spiritual. The truth is more nuanced. Some signs that what you're going through may be closer to spiritual/emotional processing. You're feeling intense emotions, but you still know where you are and who you are. You can still do basic life tasks, eat, shower, small responsibilities, even if it's hard. You feel confused and raw, but a deeper part of you senses something meaningful is happening. Grounding practices, rest and safe conversation help, even if slowly. Some signs you may need professional mental health support urgently. Persistent thoughts of self-harm or harming others. Hearing clear voices that command you to do things. Feeling completely disconnected from reality for long periods. Losing the ability to perform basic self-care or daily tasks. Paranoia or terror that doesn't ease at all. Family or friends notice extreme, dangerous changes in behavior. If you're anywhere close to that second list, please hear this. Asking for help is not a spiritual failure. Seeing a doctor or therapist does not cancel your awakening. Protecting your brain, body, and basic safety is a sacred act too. You can walk a spiritual path and still take your medication. You can talk to a therapist and still talk to God, source, universe, whatever that means for you. They are not enemies. Part 6. What actually helps when you feel like you're losing it. Let's get very practical now. What can you actually do when you feel like you're falling apart inside? I want to give you a few simple pillars you can return to. You don't have to do all of them. You can choose just one or two that feel possible right now. 1. Come back to the body again and again. Awakening pulls a lot of energy into the head and upper body. Thoughts, visions, insights. So we intentionally redirect attention downwards. Feel your feet on the floor. Wiggle your toes. Touch your legs, your arms, your face. Notice the weight of your body on the chair or bed. Say in your mind, feet, floor, breath, here. This doesn't fix everything, but it tells your nervous system, I'm in a body, I'm on the earth, I'm here. 2. 2. Breathe in a way that signals safety. Forget fancy techniques for now. Try this simple pattern. Inhale through your nose for about 4 seconds. Exhale gently through your mouth for about 6 to 8 seconds. Longer exhale equals, we might be safe enough in this moment. Do this for a few minutes. No force, no pressure to do it right. Just soft breathing. 3. Lower stimulation, not your worth. If you're overwhelmed, it's not a sign you're weak. It's a sign you're sensitive. And that sensitivity needs care. Reduce screen time, especially doom scrolling. Avoid violent or chaotic content for a while. Spend some time each day with trees, sky, water if possible. Be selective about who you talk to. Choose people who feel safe, not dramatic. 4. Adjust your practices. If your current spiritual routine is making you more anxious, wired or unstable, it might be time to gently reduce the intensity. Shorter meditations with more body awareness. Softer breath work, or even just natural breathing. Less energy-pulling practices, more grounding ones. Walking, stretching, simple presence. You are not backsliding by doing this. You are respecting your capacity. 5. Let your emotions move without worshipping them. When waves appear, name them. This is sadness. This is fear. This is anger. Notice where they live in the body. Place a kind hand there. Let a few tears fall if they want to. You don't have to analyze everything. Sometimes the most spiritual thing you can do is simply to let your heart say, yes, this hurts. Part 7. You are not behind. You're in the middle. Now, let me talk to the part of you that compares. The part that looks at other spiritual people online and thinks, they're so peaceful. They're so clear. They're so enlightened. Why am I such a mess? Here's a secret. A lot of people only show you their after or their highlight reel. They don't show you the nights they thought they were going insane, the times they were too anxious to get out of bed, the days they wanted to give up. You're not seeing their middle. You're seeing their edited story. You, right now, with your messy emotions, confused thoughts, strange sensations, you are in your middle. And the middle is not glamorous. It's not shiny. It's not Instagram aesthetic. But it is holy. The middle is where you start to choose honesty over pretending. You start to feel instead of numbing. You start to question your old story. You start to treat your pain with curiosity instead of just shame. From the outside, it might look like nothing is happening. Inside, foundations are shifting. If you remember nothing else from this video, remember this. Feeling like you're falling apart does not mean you're failing your awakening. It often means your awakening is entering the real layers, the ones your mind can't control. Part 8. A gentle invitation, not a demand. We've covered a lot. Why awakening can feel like losing your mind. How emotional floods, nervous system overload, and identity shifts all play a part. When it might be spiritual, when it might be mental health, and when it might be both. What small, real things you can do to support yourself. Now, I don't want you to turn this into another pressure. You don't have to. Fix yourself overnight. Heal all your trauma by next week. Become the perfect awakened being. Instead, I want to offer you just one gentle invitation. For the next 7 days, choose one small act of self-support each day. It could be 3 minutes of soft breathing, a 10-minute walk without your phone, writing one honest page in your journal, saying no once where before you would have said yes just to please others, drinking water and telling yourself, I'm here with you. That's it. Tiny, repeatable kindness. Because big awakenings are built out of small moments of honesty and care. Part 9. Closing. You're not crazy, you're changing. If you've watched or listened this far, I want to say this directly to you. You are not crazy for feeling deeply. You are not weak for needing help. You are not a failure because your awakening isn't all light and love. You are a human being whose inner world is rearranging itself. Of course it feels intense. Of course it feels strange. Of course you're scared sometimes. That doesn't disqualify you from growth. That doesn't disqualify you from grace. Right now, as you are, with all of this going on inside you, you are still worthy of sleep, food, support, love, slowness, and gentleness. So before this video ends, let's do one thing together. Wherever you are, just place one hand on your chest, if that feels okay. Feel your heart beating. You didn't create that heartbeat. You don't control it, but it's there. Quietly in your own mind, you can say something like, I may not understand what's happening to me, but I am still here. I am still breathing. I am allowed to take care of myself while I figure this out. And now, here's the soft, calm call to action. If this video made you feel even a little less alone, you can gently like this video. Not for the algorithm, but to remind yourself it mattered to you. Save it so on the harder days you don't have to search for comfort. Share it with someone who might also be secretly wondering if they're going crazy. And if you feel safe to, comment these words. My mind and my soul both matter. Not as a performance, just as a promise to yourself. Because they do, and you deserve a path where both are cared for.